Okay, so in today's class we will be seeing Gauss law. So what is your Gauss law statement is your electric flux enclosed over a closed region. Okay, this closed region is actually called as Gaussian surface. Okay, so this is a Gaussian surface. So the electric flux across this region, okay, is given by this statement. Okay, this statement is your Gauss law. So in this statement, what is the each term? I will tell you. So here this circle indicates that it is closed integral. This symbol integral indicates addition of small component. I mean it is addition or sum. E bar will indicate electric field in the region. Dot will indicate scalar product, dA will indicate small area. This is equal to, what is your Q enclosed means? It is your enclosed charge. Okay, enclosed charge in the sense, what is the total charge that is present in the Gaussian surface. Now here in this statement I want you to observe one thing carefully. What is that? I will tell you. Here I have mentioned electric field in the region. So electric field in the region means, okay, in this region or everywhere in this Gaussian surface, if you take, your electric field will be because of all the charges. It will be because of Q1, because of Q2, Q3, Q4, everything. Okay, so your electric field is because of charges inside Gaussian surface as well as outside Gaussian surface. Okay, outside the Gaussian surface, basically your electric field in the region is to be considered here. So here this E bar is because of charges inside as well as outside in this expression, and your enclosed charge is charge that is present only inside this loop. So only in this, inside this loop, it is Q1 minus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4. Okay, so enclosed charge means charge that is present only inside the Gaussian surface. Okay, so this is only your Gauss law statement. Okay, so what it says is it relates electric flux when between field and charge, and according to that this expression is given by Gauss, and in this main part is this E bar is because of charges inside as well as outside, and your Q enclosed is charge that is present only inside the Gaussian surface. Okay, hope you have understood it. I am continuing from here. I will erase this part. Okay, right, now I will keep elaborating little more. Okay, this is your statement. So what is the advantage of this? I will tell you. Now if you take this statement of Gauss law, you are having this, your electric flux is closed integral of E bar dot dA bar, that is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Now this is your statement of Gauss law. Now in this statement, what is that I will do is, if you observe carefully, if we manage to take a proper Gaussian surface, if we manage to take a proper Gaussian surface such that E bar is constant and angle between E bar and dA bar, okay, your theta between E bar and dA bar is also constant, then what will this become is integral of E dA cos theta can be removed and written as E times integral dA is your electric flux. Because E bar is constant, we can take it out of the integral. So E times integral dA, that is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Okay, so that will give you E times your total area is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. So that will give you E is equal to Q enclosed by A total into epsilon naught. Now from this story, what is the conclusion is, your conclusion is, okay, we can calculate electric field, we can calculate E bar, okay, we can calculate electric field from Gauss law, okay. That is one important advantage of learning Gauss law, okay, right. Now coming to the next part, okay, now previously while considering the flux, we have considered only the charge that is present inside the Gaussian surface. For field we have taken inside as well as outside. Now coming to that part, why did I do such thing is, okay, charge, okay, why am I doing that part, I will tell you. Charge outside Gaussian surface will not contribute to flux. Charge outside Gaussian surface will not contribute to flux. So my point is, if you have a charge plus Q or minus Q, if it is say plus Q, now let us say it is sending out some field lines like this. Now across this Gaussian surface that you are taking here, okay, now 3 lines have entered the Gaussian surface and 3 lines have exited out. So what is happening here is, your net enclosed charge is 0. I mean because of this, how many lines are coming, that many lines are leaving. So that is why in Q enclosed we will not consider the charge that is outside, okay. Outside charge we are not going to consider. Getting my point? So how many lines, how many field lines will come, that many will go out of the Gaussian surface. So that is why we will not consider, okay. So usually our outgoing flux is positive. If you have enclosed with positive charge Q1, Q2, Q3 like this, overall if this enclosed charge is positive, then field lines will be going out. Overall if the enclosed charge is negative, field lines will be coming in. Now in this case, if enclosed charge is positive, field lines, net field lines will go out. If enclosed charge is negative, net field lines will come in. But if the charge is outside, okay, how many will enter, that many will leave. So that is why it will not contribute to flux, but charges inside and out, inside the Gaussian surface will contribute to flux. So that is why here we are considering charges that are present only inside the Gaussian surface, whereas your electric field is because of charges inside as well as outside the Gaussian surface, okay. So getting my point, if you have to consider the field outside the Gaussian surface as well, okay. Copy it down. So why we are studying Gauss law means to calculate field in some applications, okay. So we'll call that as Gaussian symmetry. So using that we will try to calculate your electric flux, field, everything. So now I will talk about that part in detail. Okay, now before that I want to explain something. Okay, now for example, I will try to show you your electric field because of point charge using Gauss law, okay. Applications I will do later, but first, okay, as an example to have some clarity, I will explain it here. Now let us say you have a positive charge plus Q, Now somewhere here you are trying to calculate field. Let us say this is some point P. Now if you observe this figure carefully, okay, your field lines will be away like this. It will be downwards here, it will be here, it will be like this. Now if you want field at this point, okay, if this is a point charge, okay, if this is a point charge, now to get field, okay, I told you, you have to manage to choose such that E times integral dA is your Q enclosed by epsilon naught. You choose proper Gaussian surface, that will give you your electric field automatically. Now here what is the Gaussian surface means, okay, if you take a spherical Gaussian surface, okay, this is a sphere, okay, this is a sphere like this, okay, my diagram is little bad but you adjust. So if you take a spherical Gaussian surface, I am considering spherical Gaussian surface here. If I consider this spherical Gaussian surface, my electric field here is E bar this way, okay, and on this small Gaussian surface my area vector is dA bar like this, okay. Your electric field will be, if I just simply place +1 coulomb, it will be away, and area vector will be perpendicular to surface, so small area vector dA will be like this, so your angle between them is 0. Similarly, if you take your field here E bar will be this way, small area vector dA bar will be this way. At this point if you take, your E bar will be this way, dA bar is also in the same direction like this. So that means I have managed to take a spherical Gaussian surface here, and if I take this spherical Gaussian surface, I am getting a satisfied condition in which my electric field is constant because all these points are at same distance, okay. If you take this sphere is at a distance r, this sphere's radius is r, any point on this sphere you take, it will be at a distance of r. So that means my electric field magnitude is constant, okay, my electric field magnitude is constant and angle is 0. So here what is going to happen is E times, okay, your integral of dA is total area, EA into, actually you have to write integral of dA cos 0 is 1, so E times A is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Now what is the surface area of this sphere means, your surface area of this Gaussian surface is, because it is sphere, it is 4 pi r square, that will give you Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Your electric field at that point P is, okay, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q enclosed by that sphere's radius, I have taken it as small r square, so that is why I will take small r square, okay, and its direction is towards right or away, okay, depending upon whichever point you take. Now here I have explained very clearly that you will define your electric field at a point. Now we are in fact actually giving your electric field magnitude with Gauss law over this entire region. So everywhere on this spherical surface you will have constant magnitude of electric field. So this is like equivalent electric field region or locus of all the points where you have equal electric field is this sphere, okay. So now hope you have understood what I have explained, okay. So this is how you will calculate your electric field because of point charge using Gauss law. Now one more application I will see, okay. So I will explain one more application. So now many people will get confused, sir, how do you know that you are taking a sphere? I will not know, just by symmetry, from common sense and practice only, okay. You take some imaginary surface and check whether you are getting convinced with the fact. If not, you have to definitely ask me in this case, okay. So look for these two conditions, angle and magnitude. Those two will decide how to take the Gaussian surface. Now coming to your next application, let us say you have an infinite line of charge. Okay, here I have told you, here I have explained for a point charge. Now what I will do is, I will try to calculate, wait, I will do solid angle first. Without doing solid angle, it's not a good thing to do this. We will talk about solid angle first and then we will come back. Just hold on. Okay, now to understand Gauss law better, actually we need to understand something called as solid angle, and in fact if required we need to prove Gauss law. So if time is there, we'll discuss proof for Gauss law later, but I'll focus on the solid angle application part so that it will be useful. Now what is this solid angle business, I will tell you. Now what is the definition and all, I will explain in detail, but before that I will try to explain something. What is that, I want you to observe carefully. Now let us take a point source. Okay, now if you place this point source somewhere in the center of room like this, then it will start producing field lines everywhere in 360 degrees in spherical region everywhere like this. Okay, now first why we are defining this solid angle, I will tell you, then only you will get some clarity. Now if you look at this figure, okay, if I take this complete spherical region, okay, for this point source, if I take a big spherical region, across this spherical region here how many are going means 3, 3, 6, 2, 8 are going. Now let me put some more, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So say around 16 lines are going like this. Now here if you are looking at the logical aspect, full surface area is how much? 4 pi r square. For this spherical region, full surface area is 4 pi r square. Now 16 lines are going through this full hemisphere. Now if you take a half hemisphere, okay, that means if you take this top half and bottom half, if you are separating it like this, then we know that, okay, on the top there will be 8 lines, in the bottom there will be 8 lines, total you have 16 lines. But if I divide this into two parts, full sphere across an area of 4 pi r square, totally 16 lines, across an area of 2 pi r square, 8 and 8. Now if I divide it further once again, okay, this figure, if I divide it like this further into two halves, okay, this side there will be 4, this side there will be 4 lines. Okay, now in this case you are dividing your electric field lines, because you know that whatever field lines are being produced, they are divided equally over this area. Okay, that is why full sphere, if you have 16, half you are telling that 8 and 8, and quarter you are giving 4 and 4. Now a problem comes, what if I ask you, okay, within this hemisphere, half hemisphere, for example I told you 8, but now I will not take entire region, but I will take a small patch here and I will ask how many field lines are going through this surface is what I am asking you. Getting my point? What is my target or context of developing this solid angle idea is, across this half hemisphere, full hemisphere 16, half hemisphere 8, quarter 4, because we know that from symmetry we are dividing it. Now, instead of giving full hemisphere, let us say 100 lines are going through this half hemisphere, and across this part if I ask you how many lines will go through this, then we need to give the answer. So giving answer in this case is not so easy here, okay, because you cannot divide it symmetrically like just like that as you wish, okay. One aspect here is on the patch, maybe you will divide it from proportionality, like some n1 lines are there across an area of 2 pi r square, and some n dash lines are going across this area of some dA or something like that, and from proportionality you can divide it, okay. This you can do. Now instead of this, if this patch is on the surface, then to some extent using this proportionality logic, this many lines are going across this area, so this many will go through this area, that you can try. But now I will slightly extend this idea further, okay. Exact application of solid angle you will get to know. Now instead of a patch here, let me take a small patch here, some other area A2 I am taking here, let us say it is A1. Now across this A1 if I ask you how, I mean across that A2 if I ask you how many field lines are going through that, then you will not be able to answer. Even this proportionality logic will not work for getting the number of field lines. Number of field lines is indirectly nothing but flux, okay. Here what is the flux through full sphere means q by epsilon naught, through half q by 2 epsilon naught, through 1/4 q by 4 epsilon naught, and here also your n1 lines, this much some flux you will calculate from symmetry, and accordingly you can do it. But if the situation changes to this situation where in which instead of the surface part you take some other point here, then you will not be able to give the answer directly or easily. So now this is your context of developing solid angle, okay. So your solid angle will decide, okay, your solid angle will decide, or it will help us in giving the number of field lines. Now to understand it better, I will explain it further, okay. I hope you have copied it down. If you want to, you can in your own words you explain. Now next, let us say you have some point charge, okay, to understand better, okay. Let us say you have field lines going through this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay. Now field lines are coming, even this side there are field lines, but I am not drawing them, okay, because diagram becomes very bad, okay. Now observe carefully. Let me take a surface here of area A1. Let us say this distance is R1, okay, right. Next, now if I take another surface here A2, this distance let us say it is R2, and then one more surface I will take here, this is still big A3, let us say this angle is theta, okay, such that your A3 is equal to A2 cos theta. Now observe carefully, how many lines of field lines did go through this area A1 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, okay. I think I have counted it correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. So 9 lines are going through this, okay, 9 lines through this, 9 through this. In fact, if I take a hemisphere here, even through that hemisphere 9 lines, right. Now this distance is different, this distance is different, this distance is different, and shape is also different here. Now why did this happen, or why the number of field lines here in all these cases is same? If you ask me, the reason is solid angle. Okay, I will tell you what is solid angle. I will tell you, do not worry. Okay, so here same number of field lines, okay, same number of field lines are going through all the surfaces because the solid angle, if I take this as some point P, because the solid angle subtended by, these surfaces at that point is same. Okay, because the solid angle by all these surfaces at this point is same, we have same flux or same number of field lines going through this. Now if solid angle is different, then your flux will not be same. Okay, your flux is related to solid angle. Okay, so same number of field lines if they are going, that means they will subtend, those surfaces will subtend solid angle at that particular point. Okay, right? Hope you have understood what I have explained. Chanakya going right. So I will erase this. Okay, those who have understood it, hope you have copied it down. Now what is this solid angle business? I will tell you. So I am erasing it. Okay, in fact why Gauss law is correct is because inverse square law is correct. Okay, so I will tell you about that next. So I am erasing this. So now what is this solid angle? I will tell you. Okay, now to define solid angle, okay, I will make a comparative study between your plane angle and solid angle. You need to understand your plane angle and solid angle first. Okay, so what is the difference between plane angle and solid angle? Like for resistors, how you keep that symbol you have to keep for solid angle. Unit is steradians. Here plane angle is represented usually by theta. Now first and foremost difference between your plane angle, I mean when you will define your plane angle means your plane angle is angle between two lines. Okay, so your plane angle theta is your angle between two lines at that point. Okay, and if it is circular arc, if it is dl, and if this is r, if this angle is small angle d theta, then your plane angle d theta is distance by indirectly distance, that length by radius. Okay, and unit of plane angle is radians. Okay, now your theta in degrees, I mean if you are trying to convert in radians, is your theta in radians is theta in degrees by 180 degrees into pi radians. Okay, this is your plane angle. Now coming to your solid angle, okay, your solid angle is, this is angle subtended by indirectly an arc, okay, small arc at that point, okay, that is a line. Okay, your solid angle is angle subtended by, okay, it is indirectly, plane angle is 2D, solid angle is 3D. Your angle subtended by, okay, and angle subtended by a by area, okay, indirectly it is angle subtended by area at a particular point. Okay, so what is this? If you observe this figure carefully, okay, so now here if I define a small patch of area here, this area how much angle it is forming, okay, so small area dA if you take, okay, let us say from here to here the distance is r, your angle subtended is small solid angle d psi is equal to just hold on నాగర్ మాట్లాడు అక్కడ పెట్టేసి తొందరగా పక్కకి ఇది తీసుకురా మాట్లాడు రైట్ సో నౌ యువర్ సాలిడ్ యాంగిల్ d psi is equal to area dan by r square. Okay, if the distance is r, you have to keep it as r square. This is your small area. Okay, this is your distance of area from point. Okay, and this part is your small solid angle. Okay, ohm symbol you will use it for resistors, no, same thing, and it is measured in steradians. Okay, it is in 3D. Okay, hope you have understood this solid angle idea. So later we will use this same idea in optics. How much light is entering some region you can calculate from solid angle. Okay, when total internal reflection is present in certain situations, what happens is light comes out back into the same medium. So how much fraction of light is escaping out of water surface means from solid angle you can calculate it. Okay, so I'll erase it. Hope you have understood this solid angle idea. So now here for clarity's sake I will give some examples. So what is this solid angle? I will tell you. So if you take a sphere like this, okay, if you take a small patch of region on this sphere, okay, if this area is dA, okay, and because it is on the surface the distance will be r, your small solid angle d psi here is given by d small solid angle in steradians is given by small area dA by distance is radius is r, it is r square. Now for full sphere if you try to calculate total surface area, for full sphere if you are trying to calculate this solid angle, for example integral of d psi you can do it, that will give you integral of dA by r square, that is integral of r is constant for all these small patches on the surface of the sphere, it is constant, your solid angle is equal to your total area is 4 pi r square by r square, r square r square you will get 4 pi. So your unit is steradians. Okay, right, so for full sphere your solid angle is 4 pi steradians. Okay, now half sphere it is 2 pi, quarter sphere it is pi, okay, and 1/8 it is pi by 2, like that you can divide accordingly. Okay, so a flux of q by epsilon naught, if I place some charge, small charge q at the center, okay, if I place some charge q here, okay, through 4 pi steradians solid angle q by epsilon naught goes across this small area. How much flux goes means small solid angle d psi, if you are required to calculate some flux x, then your x is, okay, d psi by 4 pi times q by epsilon naught. So this will give you what is the flux through this small patch. Okay, this x is your flux through small patch. Okay, like this we can divide the flux proportionally, whether this area that you take is on the surface or inside the surface, it's not going to matter much. This is how we are going to calculate. Okay, right. Now I'll continue further from here. Your next scenario is, your next example is to just get or make you comfortable with this solid angle. I'll do it just little quick. So your next scenario is, if you take this hemisphere like this, so let us say you have some charge q here. Now if I ask you what is the flux through this hemisphere, means automatically this surface will form a solid angle of how much, means 2 pi at that charge. Okay, at this point there is, I mean, full through 4 pi q by epsilon naught. Okay, because of this charge, okay, because of 2 pi, if it is some x, then it will become x is equal to q by 2 epsilon naught is the flux by cross multiplication. Okay, next, now in general, for a general figure, how to calculate your flux, I will explain now. Let us say you have some random shape like this. Okay, now let us say there is a random shape and your origin is here. This distance is r, this distance is r. Now, I mean, this is your center, this side angle is theta naught, this side angle is theta naught. Okay, what is this? I will tell you. First, I am taking a hemisphere. Out of this hemisphere, I am cutting out this top part. Only top part I am cutting out and separating. This is your hemisphere. Okay, getting my point? What is my target is, because of this top region, this cup, okay, ice cream cone is not perfectly hemisphere, it is a cone, right? So this I am cutting off this bottom part. So now here if you take this small area A1, because of this A1 I am calculating solid angle, as well as because of this region, this pink color region is there, no, some other area. 2 pi r square is area of complete hemisphere. Okay, this is some disc. Because of this disc as well as some this pink color portion, I am trying to calculate the solid angle here. So because of this disc as well as this solid angle, I am trying to calculate, because of the top part I am trying to calculate solid angle. Now because of this part solid angle is anyhow going to remain same. Okay, it is same. I hope if you observe this area, how many field lines will go through this region, this white color shaded portion, same will go through the pink part. This is not a hemisphere. Your hemisphere is at the bottom. Your center is here. Okay, getting my point? Because of this figure, I am trying to calculate your solid angle. Getting my point? Hope you have understood what I tried to explain. Okay, copy it down if you do not follow. But okay, here certain important things that I want you to consider is, this result if I derive, I can derive results for almost any figure. How I will tell you? Change this angle theta naught to 90 degrees. If theta naught is 90 degrees, that side it will come to the bottom, this side it comes to bottom, it becomes hemisphere. Okay, and if I make this theta naught to 180, it becomes full sphere. Okay, so I am trying to calculate solid angle for this random figure like this. Now if I try to calculate solid angle for this figure, okay, I will keep the heading as solid angle for general figure in terms of plane angle, okay. Here theta naught is the plane angle. I am getting solid angle in terms of plane angle. What is the advantage of this? Maybe we cannot identify solid angle directly looking at the figure, but if we can get an expression relating solid angle and plane angle directly in the problems, what is that we can do? We can substitute that plane angle into the required formula and get the solid angle. Once we know the solid angle, directly we can substitute and get the flux accordingly. So in this case, if I take a small patch here, this small patch of area that you have here, okay, I am taking a small strip, this angle is theta, this is d theta. Your small area dA will be upwards like this, okay. So your solid angle, small solid angle d psi is small normal area dA by, okay, that is across a distance of how much means it is across a distance of r square, right. So this is across a distance of r square, because this strip, any point that you take on this strip is at a distance of r square. Now that peel off layer, if you cut it and stretch it like this, that peel off layer over this arc will have, this is your r sin theta part. So it will have a length of 2 pi r sin theta and a width of r d theta, okay. So your small area dA is, okay, it is 2 pi r square into sin theta d theta. For a small rectangle like this, your area is length into breadth by r square. So r square will cancel off. Your small solid angle d psi is 2 pi sin theta d theta, okay. Now observe carefully, what are my limits? To get these limits, if theta is 0, theta is not from minus theta naught to plus theta naught, because here we are taking areal integration. If theta is 0, strip goes to top. If theta is equal to theta naught, strip comes to bottom, okay. So my limits are, total solid angle is integral of 2 pi sin theta d theta, where theta is varying from 0 to theta equal to theta naught. Here once again I am telling you, limits are not from minus theta naught to theta naught, because if theta is 0, strip is at the top, your area or peel off layer is at the top. If theta is equal to theta naught, peel comes to bottom, full object is covered. Do not keep minus theta naught. If you are starting from minus theta naught, okay, from minus theta naught to 0, you will take this area. Then once again from 0 to theta naught, you will come down. Twice you are supposed to do. So that is not correct at all, okay. So your limits are only from theta equal to 0 to theta equal to theta naught. So accordingly this will become 2 pi times, what is integral of sin theta means, it is minus cos theta from 0 to theta naught. That will give you 2 pi times minus cos theta naught minus cos 0. Cos 0 is 1, okay, cos 0 is 1. So you will get 2 pi times 1 minus cos theta is your solid angle, okay. So now I have related my solid angle with plane angle. Now for full figure, to check whether this result is correct or not, for full figure, what is my theta naught means 180 degrees, cos 180 is minus 1. So your sigma will be 2 pi into, your solid angle is 2 pi times 1 minus of minus 1 plus 2, so you are going to get 4 pi steradians. And for half circle, you substitute theta equal to 90 degrees accordingly, okay. So this result is correct, okay, because when theta is equal to 180 degrees, full circle, your solid angle is going to become 4 pi steradians, okay. Now we have got the solid angle. Now once the solid angle is known, okay, we can calculate our electric flux easily using this solid angle idea. You give any figure, I will just simply do and calculate the flux because of that particular surface so easily. Okay, so keep this point in mind. I will show you an application what is there in this. Okay, now a question is like this. I am erasing it. Hope you have copied it down. This application is very important for doing advanced level questions. Solid angle will simplify the steps so easily. Now for example, let me take a simple question and then show it to you. Now let us say you have two charges, okay, on the midpoint of dipole, length L, radius R, there is this, okay, no, wait. Let us say there is a disk or disk-like region. Exactly on the axis at a distance L, there is a point charge plus Q. Question is, find flux through disk. He could even combine and put one more negative charge here and then ask it. You can apply principle of superposition and all. But anyhow, now you just answer this question. I want you to calculate flux through this disk. Okay, across this disk, what is the flux? That is my question. Okay, now basic method if you are doing without solid angle, okay, then what is that you are supposed to do? I will tell you. Then how solid angle will simplify this answer, you will get to know. Okay, one is directly using solid angle, but I don't want that. Okay, I want you to calculate without solid angle. So without solid angle, what will you do? You will take a small patch like this. Let us say this is your original disk. Now across this small patch, first we will try to calculate our flux. Now across this patch, this distance is L, this distance is R. Your limits are from R equal to 0 to R equal to capital R. Your small electric field at this point because of this charge is, small area dA will be like this, it will be perpendicular to surface. So your dA is like this, which is 2 pi r dr. Your electric field is kq by, if this distance is some y, okay, your electric field at that point is, it is kq by y square. What is q means? Under root r square plus l square, k into q by, what is y square means? It is r square plus l square. What is this angle means? It is theta here, it is theta here, where your cos theta and all you can substitute accordingly if required. So now what is your flux means? Your small flux d phi is, in this case, it is E bar dot dA bar, that is E dA cos of angle between these two is theta. What is cos theta means? Adjacent side by hypotenuse. So your E is kq by y square times, what is your area means? It is 2 pi r dr times, what is your cos theta means? Cos theta is adjacent side by hypotenuse, that is L by y. Now that will give you, okay, k into q into 2 pi times L, okay, kq 2 pi L times r dr by y cube means, that is r square plus L square whole power 3 by 2. Your y cube is, because y is under root r square plus L square, this is what you are going to get for small flux. Now how will you simplify this? To get total flux, you are supposed to integrate it, okay. So you will be 2 pi into 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is, how much means? It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught will give you, that will cancel off, you are going to get sigma L by 2 epsilon naught, okay. And this is r dr by r square plus l square whole power 3 by 2 from r equal to 0 to r equal to capital R. Now when expressions like this come, what is that you are supposed to do? You have to assume, okay, sorry, why is this sigma? This is q only, q into l. Okay, so now here what is that we are going to do? R square plus l square is equal to t square. When r is equal to 0, your t is equal to l. When r is equal to capital R, your t is under root r square plus l square, and 2r dr is equal to 2t dt, like this. Now substitute this and give an expression in terms of t. In the end, once you get the answer, substitute back that t. So this is your normal approach, and I want you to simplify. Okay, I have set up the limits. How will you appreciate this solid angle idea without doing this? Simplify it. Okay, so now this is your basic method. Okay, here we don't have constant electric field directly to give the answer as E times pi r square, because at this point electric field is different. Here, everywhere on the disk at different points it is different. So now this method, if you do, the answer is lengthy. Whereas if you have this solid angle idea, okay, so now many people are not even, they will not even bother to simplify, but I want you to simplify. Okay, so you simplify and check the answer. Now first method, that will give the answer. What is your second method is, if you look at this solid angle part, this your solid angle here is theta naught, theta naught. So what is your solid angle means 2 pi times 1 minus cos theta naught is your solid angle. So your solid angle subtended by the surface is 2 pi times 1 minus cos theta naught is how much means, it is adjacent side, it is L by, what is your hypotenuse means under root r square plus L square, where radius is capital R. So it is r square plus L square under root. Now, okay, through 4 pi steradians, what is the flux means? Q by epsilon naught. 4 pi steradians in the sense, okay, a full sphere. Through a full sphere, Q by epsilon naught is the flux. Through 4 pi steradians, Q by epsilon naught is the flux. 2 pi times 1 minus L by under root r square plus L square will have how much flux is the question. So if it is some required, your flux required will be cross multiplying this 2 pi times 1 minus L by under root r square plus L square times Q by epsilon naught whole divided by 4 pi, like this. This is your required flux. Okay, so like this we can calculate different answers in different situations. Okay, now hope you have understood it. Okay, we'll continue further. Just let me look into what the time is. Okay, now another last part, and with this part I will stop, and then I will continue with applications on Gauss law. So another last part is why inverse square law is required for Gauss law is what I want to discuss now. So let us say you have different surfaces at different points. Okay, now observe carefully certain important things. Let us say you have an area A1 here. Distance is R1. Okay, and let me take, okay, let me take one more area here. Let us say the distance is R2, area is A2. Okay, now let us say this is where you have your charge and field lines are here. Okay, so now observe carefully. So if you look at this figure, if you are talking in terms of solid angle, this figure and this figure will subtend same solid angle. If you join these two, whether this is close and this is far, it doesn't matter, but solid angle is same because same number of lines are going through both the surfaces. Okay, so now here your solid angle is A1 by R1 square, that is equal to A2 by R2 square. Okay, first, which is also equal to, if there is some other figure here, if this is A3, this will also be equal to A3 cos theta is nothing but A2. If this angle is tilted like this, A3 cos theta by whatever distance, R2, R3, whatever, wherever it is, accordingly you can substitute the distance like this. Okay, now in this case, okay, what is that I am going to do is, now I have calculated the solid angle. Now if I try to calculate flux, okay, your flux is E1 times A1, okay, and same flux is going through all the surfaces, which is equal to E2 into A2. Okay, so now E1 times what is A1 means, from here what is your A1 by A2 is your R1 square by R2 square. Now substitute this back into this expression. So you are going to get E1 by E2 is equal to A2 by A1, which is equal to R2 square by R1 square, which is equal to E1 by E2. Now if you are getting this expression, from this one thing is very clear, that your E is inversely proportional to R square, right? So this is what your inverse square law. Okay, so your Gauss law is valid provided your inverse square law is valid. If inverse square law is not correct, then your Gauss law will not be correct. Okay, I have proved that your field is inversely proportional to R square. If field is inversely proportional to R square, automatically your force is also will be inversely proportional to R square. Okay, right? Hope you have understood. Okay, this is your basic idea of Gauss law and solid angle. Now in the next class we will continue with applications related to Gauss law. That's all for